today's video, we're going to be utilizing a card game to make a drawing. And that card game is called SuperFight. It's a game that I bought many years ago and have never actually played. So we're going to be taking 2 cards from this and drawing whatever we randomly choose. This is an idea I did for a stream a few months back that I admittedly never finished and kind of forgot about. But I'll get back to it, hopefully. Anyway, let's draw some cards, shall we? So today we have the game SuperFight, and the purpose of this game is to pick 2 cards to create a character, and then you have to debate your opponent whether your character or their character would win in a fight. We're going to be randomly picking from this box that you can't see, from this box, and drawing whatever we come up with. So let's switch to our secondary camera, which is literally just our first camera repositioned, and we'll randomly pick up a card from the white deck, and we'll pick a random card, this one. We'll place it face down so we don't know what it is yet, and we will repeat the process for the black cards. This one. All right, we've got our 2 cards here, and our subject for the drawing is going to be the Illuminati. Oh boy. And they have the ability to throw fireballs. This could be an interesting one. So let's get to drawing. Let's create some chaos. Now, immediately I knew that I was going to be using the pyramid with the eye kind of shape because that's like the main symbol of the Illuminati. But with that, there were 2 ways that I could have taken it. I could have either gone with a anthropomorphic pyramid like Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls, or I could have gone with a humanoid figure with a pyramid-shaped head, like, well, Pyramid Head from the Silent Hill series. I decided to go with the second option because I felt like I could have done a lot more with the design and pose than if it was just a pyramid with limbs. And I'm really glad I did because I was able to practice this high motion type of pose where you're following the arm throwing the fireball, following it through to the end, which is something I don't think I've included a lot in my pieces lately. I feel like a lot of my posing or a lot of my art has focused more on the design rather than the motion of the piece itself. And so I decided to sacrifice the design a little bit in order to bring up that pose. And speaking of the pose, I really like how I drew this image during the follow through of the pose. So it's not just like it's rearing up to throw a fireball, but it's already launched it and the hand has already completed the action. And you can follow that through the fireball moving in the foreground of the piece, and also through the air kind of slash that I did through the piece where that follows the trajectory of the hand. Admittedly, I'm not a huge fan of how I drew the air wisp or whatever you want to call it. I feel like it could have been more subtle, I guess is the right word. I really like how it turned out. It's very different than how I've done it in the past, but it's not my favorite method of doing it. Maybe I might have blurred the line art of it a little more had I gone back. But overall, it's a really fun pose, and it was really interesting to see like where the arm goes once it follows through and how the rest of the body reacts to that. As for the rest of the body, I did spend a good few minutes trying to reenact the pose myself so I could see like where the arm holding the next fireball would be and how the legs would react if you're trying to throw a fireball while jumping in midair. As you could imagine, trying to study a pose midair and not fall and get hurt is not that easy. The fireballs themselves are the part of the piece that I was really looking forward to drawing, especially since the character has to be able to shoot fireballs And I knew like it'd be really cool to see a fireball just coming towards the foreground and just being like much closer to the camera than the actual character is. And so I got to experiment with different ways and methods of trying to render the way the environment affects the flames, choosing different techniques to render the static fireball that's being held in the backhand against the fireball in motion that the other hand has already thrown. It looks really cool and it really sells the piece. And in order to sell that motion more, I did something a little different than I normally would have with the actual ball part of the fireball. I utilized an animation technique known as stretching, which is used to simulate a high-speed motion in animation, and made the ball more ovular. I also didn't completely finish the shape, instead making the back half of the ball speed lines to really push that motion forward, and it worked out really well. And another part of the piece that I'm really happy with is the brick texturing on the head and neck of the character. I've always loved the cartoon style of texturing where just a few lines is enough to sell the texture on any kind of surface, but I've always struggled with doing it myself, like, oh, how many lines should I put? How far into the detail should the lines go? But the lines here mixed with the shading really make it feel like the entire pyramid head is composed of individually placed bricks without me having to sit there and draw every brick. I also tried initially to do this on the skin too, on the limbs, to make it imply that the entire body's made of brick, but I couldn't quite grasp the concept on those yet. I also realized at that point that I didn't love the idea of the character just being just a humanoid that's, for lack of a better word, completely naked. And so I opted to add in a little bit of clothing with a suit to kind of symbolize power. And the one thing I will say about this piece is choosing to make the suit blue, that combined with the yellows and oranges of the skin and the flames, really give this character an Octodad type of vibe. But overall, I'm really happy with how it turned out. Let's take a look. Thank you all so much for watching. I had a lot of fun with this video, especially as a small deviation from the norm that we usually do on this channel. Let me know if you enjoyed it down in the comments below, and if you want to see more of this, we got a whole deck of cards to choose from. But I also want to see you all try it out yourself. I know if you don't have the game, it's going to be a little hard to draw cards, but show me what your rendition of an Illuminati shooting fireballs would be. And feel free to share it with me using the hashtag DrawingCardsArtChallenge. That's all I've got for you today. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in a normal video this Friday. Take care, everyone.